within the last year, I made an entire body of work documenting the childhood home that I grew up in and all of the rooms in the house. So it wasn't just about the people, but paying homage to like the space that I grew up in. What I have here are transparencies, and what I did was I took an iPhone photograph of my aunt and I separated the image into 4 color channels. So I've got a cyan, a magenta, a yellow, and a black. So each color channel understands and acknowledges like the separate color entities of the image. So what I've done basically is broken the image apart. And what I'm gonna do is expose it onto a screen, and I'm able to then push ink through the screen to then rebuild or reprint the image. So I'm kind of meditating on what it means to really build an image or create an image or earn an image in my process. Because when I layer them, and it's also called registration when you register the print, you could kind of create an overarching pattern, or in this case, I'm creating what's called a moire, which is when patterns overlap each other. But I think the busyness and the nuance and the chaos of a moire is really beautiful and complicated. Infusing memory and sound through a pattern or like through color, but also when they overlap, they create this larger feeling, more so than just like the photograph itself, which was super flat. This moment is vibrating versus it happening here, where it's completely not. And this image kind of feels colder because it's on a colder piece of fabric versus this one, which is way warmer. There is an association to memory and how memory is received in these kinds of simple choices of the color of the fabric, the color of the ink. I want to let some of the color of the fabric come through, like in the balloons or in the cake, not have it be fully clear or developed. So sometimes I don't even use every layer of the image, and I stop at different points. Because I also really appreciate like the painter aspect of creating an image, or like the sculptural aspect of the print. So I'm also trying to acknowledge my own body within the process, like my own hand, my own colors. A lot of the work is now what I would consider like a commemoration to a person or a place. There's a lot of poetry and writing that goes into the work. And it's kind of even become less about like the memory, but more so wanting to stretch out the instance of the memory. And like when you think about like safety and freedom and pure like happiness or expression or sadness or anger or whatever spectrum of emotion you're feeling, it's not necessarily the mundane everyday domestic life, but it's the overarching like bookmark pieces of life that you remember. But these images are often forgotten or just like so slow and mundane that it's worth acknowledging. There's a lot of importance in like the daily actions of like care or like sustainability. Especially in an immigrant household. And I think screen printing and the process of printmaking overall really is able to hold that narrative. Yeah, and this is just to like tell this is a vacuum table, an exposure unit, so the lights are underneath. And this is what you call like a vacuum bladder, which is a large stretch piece of rubber. And I've got the stencil underneath facing the screen that has the light sensitive emulsion, and then there's UV light under there. So when I clamp this down, I'm gonna turn on the vacuum switch. It's gonna be extremely loud. Turn on the light and expose it for 1 minute and 30 seconds. So these are all swatches that I brought from my studio. I have a wall of ink that I go to. And you know, the ink has a life of its own, and you keep it alive by watering it on a monthly basis so it doesn't dry out. And I do that because ink is so expensive. So I just have like a squeegee card, and this is just a way to test the print, the ink. And it's the same exact approach as like pulling a screen with ink. So in doing this, I'm testing the opacity of the ink and the color. And sometimes what I do is I overlap the colors. So in this moment, I could see the color underneath, the color imprinted on top, and how they look together, and then the color itself. But I keep them because they're beautiful. And also they're a nice log. They're a nice log of what colors I had. I just don't want to run out of inspiration. Making prints allows you to like think in layers. And I don't think I was thinking that way as a younger person.